I used to have weekly acting classes. You would be given a script, you would partner up with someone, you'd have about 30 minutes to learn the scene, and then you'd have to come and stand in front of the entire class and perform back your scene. And we had a particularly harsh acting tutor called Mark, who was famous for being very dry in his humour. So you'd finish the scene, and then everyone would sit in silence waiting for his feedback, and he'd let out this long sigh, and then he'd raise one eyebrow and give you this flippant retort that would make everyone laugh and make some people feel very uncomfortable. But he was doing it to make people get a thick skin. And I really valued it because although he was very sarcastic, he was also very honest about what you were doing well and what you were doing wrong. And what I learned from going week in, week out to these classes was that you really cannot judge your own performance. Because sometimes you would get to the end of the scene thinking, I absolutely nailed that. I was in the moment, all the beats were in place, I was feeling the emotions. And then everyone else would tell you a completely different story. And then other times you would finish the scene thinking, I messed that up, I didn't get the timings right, I didn't feel like I was in the moment. And other people would say that was amazing. We were completely engaging, I was hooked the entire time. So you really learn to detach what you think and feel about it to what it actually is coming across to as the audience. And like the old saying goes, we really are our own worst critics. You really just cannot be objective because it's impossible for you to really see it from the audience's perspective. And I see this exact same problem playing out in the world of public speaking, because people will often come to me and say, Ed, I am doing presentations at work, or I'm doing pitches, or maybe I've done speeches before to audiences, and I get praise, I get encouragement, I might get positive comments, but it's all very surface level. And the trouble is most people either don't feel comfortable giving you that feedback, or actually they just don't know because they don't have an expert eye and they're not able to tell you what was wrong, what was right, what could be better. But if you really want to help people, you tell them the truth. So for instance, that story that you have put at the start of your speech about your childhood, it's not aligned with the rest of the talk. And what we really need to do, unfortunately, is just cut it, and we'll find a different way to open things up. And also that relaxed style that you've got, that you are presenting with, that you think is very conversational and warm, actually from the audience's perspective, it comes across as aloof. And I think what we really need is for you to flip this on its head and have a far more direct and confident delivery style. So that's the kind of feedback that we often really need, specific, no nonsense, cutting right to the chase. So here are 3 things you can do to try to get a little bit closer to this. If you are going to your colleagues for feedback, preface the conversation by telling them explicitly what you want. I want you to tell me your honest thoughts. I want you to give me what you liked as well as what you didn't like. And if you were going to do this yourself, how would you do it differently? You want to try to box them in so there's no way they can wriggle out and they're forced to give you what they really think about it. Second thing you can do is to record yourself. Now, when you first do this, you are going to be completely feeling awkward about it, and you're going to be transfixed on that weird bit of hair that sticks up and that sound your voice is making and all of these superficial things that no one really even cares about. But with a bit of time and practice, you will be able to get past that and you'll be able to assess yourself far more objectively. And when you get to that point, it can be a really useful thing to be able to watch yourself back, look at how you're coming across, and then adapt things on the fly. But finally, the third bit of advice is if you want to just cut right to the chase, go and find someone who has both the expert eye and who has the ability to give you the praise, give you the encouragement, but also give you the critique that you need to keep making steps forward. If you don't have one of these 3, then what tends to happen is you're just kind of treading water. And you might be doing a lot of speaking, doing videos, doing presentations, whatever, but you're not getting that feedback loop, which is allowing you to progress. And so you're kind of just doing the same level of delivery and performance that you were doing last month and the month before. So feedback is the secret ingredient to progression. It's how we get better. But ultimately, remember, you are your own worst critic. So make sure you go out there and find a better way to get that critique. Having said all that, if you have a speech, a pitch, or a presentation coming up, or if you are stepping into a new leadership role and you want to assume more authority and become a more strong and capable speaker, it might be time that we had a chat about what that would look like and how I can help you achieve that goal. For now though, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any feedback for me, please by all means let me know in the comments. I would very much appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe or follow me wherever you're watching this video. And here is to your public speaking success.